In the last 24 hours, leaked simulation data confirmed our worst fears. The 2026 F1 cars are being called Frankenstein monsters that run out of battery halfway down the straight. To understand why everyone is panicking right now in November 2025, we need to look at what the FIA has done. For the 2026 season, Formula One decided to completely reinvent the wheel. They wanted to be greener to attract big manufacturers like Audi and Ford. The plan sounded simple on paper. Keep the 1.6-liter turbo engines, but strip away the complex heat energy system known as the MGU-H. To make up for lost power, they tripled the electrical output. The new rule is a 50-50 split. Half the power comes from gas, half from electricity. It sounds perfect for a press release. But here is the problem they didn't foresee 3 years ago. When you demand 50% of your power from a battery, that battery drains incredibly fast. Now, as teams like Red Bull and Mercedes finalize their designs for the upcoming launch, the reality has hit them like a brick wall. The physics just don't add up. We are seeing reports that these cars are not just slower, they are fundamentally broken in how they drive. The 2025 season is ending, but the war for 2026 has already turned into a disaster management operation. Let's dig into the core of this design bug. It all comes down to energy management. In the current cars, you rarely run out of battery boost because the engine recharges it constantly using exhaust gases. But in 2026, that recharging method is gone. You only have braking energy to charge the battery. Here is the math that is scaring the engineers. The new electric motor provides about 470 horsepower. That is massive. But to feed a beast that size, you need a huge amount of juice. Simulation data reveals that on long tracks like Spa or Monza, the battery hits zero long before the braking zone. Imagine Hamilton or Verstappen battling for the lead. Suddenly, halfway down the straight, the electric power cuts out. The car instantly loses 470 horsepower. It would feel like hitting a parachute. To prevent this, the engine has to work overtime to charge the battery while also driving the wheels. It is an impossible balancing act that is leading to the most bizarre driving technique we have ever seen. This is the specific behavior Max Verstappen warned us about, and now it is confirmed by multiple insiders. To keep the battery from dying on the straight, drivers have to trick the engine. The fastest way to get around a lap in the 2026 simulations involves downshifting while you are at top speed. Picture this. You are doing 200 miles per hour. You are at full throttle. Normally, you would be in 8th gear, but the computer tells you to drop to 6th or 5th gear. Why? Because revving the engine higher spins the generator faster, forcing energy back into the battery to keep the electric motor alive. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds unnatural. Christian Horner calls it a Frankenstein solution. If this isn't fixed before the first race in 2026, we are going to see drivers screaming their engines at redline on the straights just to keep the lights on. It turns the pinnacle of motorsport into a desperate economy run. The FIA realized early on that these cars would be too draggy and slow on the straights without the electric boost. So they invented a patch. It is called active aerodynamics. You might have heard the terms Z mode and X mode floating around. Z mode is standard, high downforce for corners. X mode is the panic button. On the straights, the driver pushes a button and the wings literally flap open to reduce drag. It is like DRS on steroids, but it is not for overtaking. It is just to survive the straight. Here is the scary part. If the system fails, or if a driver forgets to re-engage Z mode before a corner, the car has zero grip. It would be like driving on ice. We have heard rumors of simulation crashes where the active aero didn't reset in time, sending the car spinning wildly. Instead of focusing on racing, drivers will be playing a high-speed video game, toggling modes just to keep the car on the track. Everyone wanted lighter cars. The drivers asked for it, the fans asked for it. The FIA promised the 2026 cars would be 30 kilograms lighter. Well, that promise has turned into a lie. Batteries are heavy. To get the 50-50 power split, the battery pack has to be massive compared to what we have today. On top of that, you need extra crash structure to protect that high voltage bomb sitting behind the driver. Insiders are now saying hitting the minimum weight target is impossible without using exotic, expensive materials that might break the budget cap. So, instead of nimble go-karts, we are getting heavy tanks. Heavy cars are sluggish in slow corners and dangerous in high-speed crashes. It completely defeats the purpose of the agile car concept the FIA sold us. We're looking at machines that could be even heavier than the current generation, making them feel lazy and unresponsive to drive. Say goodbye to DRS as you know it. The drag reduction system is being replaced by something called MOM, Manual Override Mode. It sounds like a joke, but it is real, because everyone will be using active aero to reduce drag on every straight. Simply opening the wing won't be enough to pass people anymore. So the FIA created a boost button. If you are close to the car ahead, you get a shot of extra electrical energy up to 200 miles per hour. It works like the push to pass button in IndyCar, or a video game turbo. The problem? It is incredibly artificial. Fans are worried it will make overtaking look fake. The car behind will just zoom past because the rules gave them extra horsepower, not because of a slipstream or skill. It takes the organic battle out of racing and replaces it with a programmed advantage. It gets worse when we look at the rubber. Pirelli is in a nightmare scenario. Because the teams are cutting drag to save energy, the cars will have less downforce, pushing them into the track. Less downforce means less grip. To compensate, Pirelli has to make tires that work differently. But they just announced they had to scrap their new C6 soft compound for 2026. Because drivers hated it in testing, the tires are also getting narrower to reduce air resistance. Narrower tires on a heavy car with less aerodynamic grip? That is a recipe for sliding. While drifting looks cool, it destroys tires. We could see races where drivers are tiptoeing around on chewed-up rubber, unable to push, because the car simply doesn't have the mechanical grip to handle the power torque of the new electric motor. Parity has been the goal of the budget cap era. We finally got the field closed up in 2024 and 2025, but 2026 threatens to blow the field wide open again. New simulation leaks from late 2025 show a massive performance spread between the teams. We are talking about a 20% difference in simulation scores between the top team and the bottom team. Whenever you change engine rules this drastically, one manufacturer always gets it right, and everyone else suffers. Rumors are swirling that Mercedes has nailed the battery efficiency again, just like they did with the turbo hybrid in 2014. If that's true, we could be staring down the barrel of another era of single-team domination, right when the sport was getting competitive. The design bug might not just affect the driving, it might kill the competition entirely. The FIA knows they have a mess on their hands. In these final months of 2025, they are frantically trying to patch the regulations. They have introduced a power ramp down rule. Instead of the battery cutting straight to zero, the power will fade out slowly over the last few seconds of the straight. It is designed to stop that hitting a wall sensation I described earlier, but it doesn't solve the core physics problem. The energy simply isn't there. Fading the power out just masks the issue. It doesn't fix it. The teams are arguing, the drivers are worried, and time is running out. We are essentially watching a live beta test of a sport, and the first race is the deadline they cannot move. They are trying to legislate their way out of a physics problem, and that rarely works in Formula One. So what does this actually mean for us watching at home in 2026? Best case scenario, the cars are tricky to drive, mistakes happen, and we get chaotic, unpredictable races. Worst case, we watch the world's best drivers struggling with machinery that feels amateur. If the ghost shift issue isn't fully resolved, the onboard audio will be unbearable. Engines screaming at random points on the straight. The MOM boost button might turn overtaking into a gimmick, removing the skill of the late braking maneuver. But the biggest implication is the reputation of F1. The sport is risking its status as the pinnacle of engineering. If these cars are slower, heavier, and more artificial than the cars in junior categories, F1 loses its magic. The manufacturers might get their green badge of honor, but the fans might lose the raw speed and danger that makes Formula One special. We are walking a very thin line between innovation and a total technical failure. The 2026 cars are being built right now, bugs and all. Do you think F1 can fix this before the lights go out? Or is the sport driving off a cliff? Hit subscribe and let me know your verdict in the comments.